Welcome to the Options Weekly Forecast. We have a lot to talk about, namely one particular long-term options trade that I think is setting up beautifully here. We are going to discuss long-term potential similar to NVDA. I want to say that it will be it's one of the trades I'm looking most forward to, given in the coming months, I guess you could say. It will be a long-term trade that I think will provide significant upside to all of those that take it. It is going to be both fundamentals and technicals. It is a sound trade, and it's going to be delightful, and we are going to cover it. So I wanted to say hello and welcome. Please make sure you're already in the back of your mind thinking to yourself, what tickers do I want to cover on the smash or pass? Get those in your head right now so that you can put them down when we get ripping and running here. We have first up, and because it just always should be covered, is Tesla here on the monthly. Very interesting opportunity here, given that we are setting up at support. We have a little bit more wick than I would like to see, but we did cross over RSI on the monthly. Now we are waiting for RSI to cross above 54. Again, screenshot this, write it on your forehead, put it on a sticky note. Make sure you understand these points that I discuss, because they're going to guide you in making sure that you take these trades and that they are profitable. If you do not, then I can't vouch for you or say that it's going to work out, because these are the guidelines that I'm following. So give me a quick sippy sip here. Delightful. So very interesting. Again, we're looking at the monthly chart. Remember that the bigger the time frame, the more accurate the story that you're getting. The smaller the time frame, the less accurate the story you're getting. So if you want to take a big trade over the long term, you want to look at the larger time frames, bigger time frames. I'm talking weekly and monthly specifically. Because again, for these long-term option swings, you want to make sure that you're going to see 1-2 months of upside, because that's going to be your big gain on a larger position. So again, drawing back to Tesla here, I think we are basically pressing against what I think will be our functional resistance. As you can see drawn right here, this blue line, we have to break above this previous high of this month right here. If we zoom in a little more, we can see that it was right at about $300. So 300 is going to be a psychological price point that we need to break, and it's basically our functional resistance at the moment. So we want to see more volume swelling here around the support, which means we want to see the volume, as we saw right back here, it was pushing about, how much is that? 3.4 billion on the monthly. We want to see like 3.2 at the very least, like we saw right here. That was about 3.5 billion. So on this push up, broke above resistance and then go. We want to see that same type of accumulation and buying here for this to really set up. Again, look at the wicks. They're pushing up, but they're failing. Then right here, inverted hammer signifies that we could see reversal. Okay, great. Then we got this little bit of, I would say, bullish neutral, because we're above support. And then this, I don't like this one at all. That's the inverted hammer, hammer, inverted hammer, which doesn't signify a lot of strength. What you want to see is the sellers to punch through, but the buyers to push them back up. You saw the opposite. The buyers pushed up, but the sellers pushed them back down. So as you can see right here, we saw the same thing right here, and then we sold off down to about $100, which is no bueno. We don't want to see that again, nor do I think that that's what's going to happen right now. This price point right here, the 240s, is a critical area for Tesla. Again, write it down, write it on your forehead, mark it on your chart, screenshot this chart, save the link to this video so you can refer back to it, because you need to know these price levels. If we can hold up above 240, I think we're in good shape and in good standing, which means that we're probably going to see a bigger move to the upside. We need to test 278. We need to eclipse this previous month right here. It pushed too high of about 278. I outlined that in my stream a while back, and I wrote it everywhere. So you should have already known about that level. But that's going to be a pretty critical resistance for us to encounter. So above 240s, good. Above 278, even better. So you might ask, well, if it's up from where it is now, why wouldn't we just buy now? Well, because we're not certain, because we haven't received our confirmation yet. We want to see strength off of the support. We don't want to just see it hold and then take our bet to the upside and then watch it descend down, because as you can see, this blue line right here is our functional resistance. Let's make it a little brighter so we can see it. It's our functional resistance right here. So as you can see, we're wicking up above it, but then we're still selling down. We're not able to close above that line. Look at it this way: it's like they're playing tug of war, as I always explain, but this side is winning. We don't want that. Or sorry, the sell side's winning. Is why the price action down here. We want the buy side to win, which means we want to see it up here. So if we can hold there, then I would say I'm pretty optimistic that we continue on an upward trajectory to challenge that 278, because then our next target will be 300 bucks. So correct. So this guy's already on top of it. Earnings is always telltale sign of kind of what to expect. You want to look at the forward guidance above anything else. That's going to be kind of the underpinned sentiment there. If they have very strong forward guidance, and that's basically them saying, hey, look, we have very optimistic expectations moving forward over the next quarter. You want to know that because that's going to give you the picture in the market, and that's what's going to really push the needle in terms of getting buyers involved. So if they give no or weak forward guidance or they revise it down, you typically see some sell-off. And if we see some sell-off, then we're going to be watching for that, call it 2 to 215 range. That'd be the next buying opportunity. So again, save this video or mark it on your chart, do something so that you can refer back to it, just in case I'm not sitting there talking about it in the moment. I'm giving you all the sauce because I have all the information to make the best decision possible. I just want to make sure that you guys are saving it and using it appropriately. So again, we want to see Tesla pushing up in the 260s. It's pretty range bound right now. We're going to go to the smaller time frames and take a look. Stretch her out a little bit. It's like stocks, but he gave a buy on the hourly. That's cool. So we could see that it's pretty range bound here. So again, we wicked up, but we weren't able to hold. This was the right shoulder right here. As we straight up called that on that live stream, that this was shaking out to be the right shoulder on this little head and shoulders right there. But what's even better is that we have the opposite in kind, right? So shoulder, head, shoulder. We want to see this round out and push up. Again, lower low, higher low. So what you always want to look for is the slope on those inverted head and shoulders to know the pattern's playing out. But we could see that we're pushing up with a little bit of volume here. We need to break this. Look at the RSI right here. The RSI is right. We have this green line right at about 54. We want to see that momentum break up above that previous little resistance right there. That's where the buyers were shut down. We want to see it price break up. We also want to see RSI break up too, to give us confirmation that this is the move and that it's going. So that's Tesla for you. That's a little bit of a watch and wait spy. We've been nailing this one nonstop. Look at those ranges we mapped out. You could have traded this once, 437, trade to the downside, go to 433, puts, win. You could have traded it again, downside 437 all the way to 430, huge puts, win. You could have traded bull right here from the bottom of this range, 431 to 436, winner. Right here again, break up, support test, confirmation is right here. Boom, winner to 437. Nailed it. My goal is to teach you guys how to identify these ranges on your own and trade using them, because it's the easiest way to trade, in my opinion, that I've ever discovered. So it gives you a very clear picture, very clear rules. If it's above the top of the range, then it's in another range. If it's below, it's in another range. It's just about identifying those and really understanding how they function in terms of measuring out the price so that you can take the right positions, whether it's equities or options, right? So very simple. For what we expect on the S&P going forward, this is where you save this video and mark it down. At open tomorrow, should we get strength above 437 and a quarter, upside to 441. So that would be looking like let me look at this. So SPY. I like November 3rd. Let's see what the open interest is. For instance, the November 3rd 440 call, I think would suit you quite nicely. You'd see a nice move there. IV is extremely low, so I think you could really see a nice move there. So should we break up with strength, okay, 437 and a quarter, right? Remember, we're not buying the breakout. We're buying the confirmation. So we break out, we rip, and then we dip. We're buying that little dip right there before we see realistically an inevitable move back up to 441. So again, please make sure you're listening to what I'm saying here. That is the way to trade this. Do not trade it in any other way because this is to me the highest efficiency strategy that you could possibly use. So let's look at the scenario number 2. That's our bullish scenario. Let's look at the bearish scenario number 2. That would be a rejection at the open of 437 and a quarter, just about, and then another test. So if it doesn't come down too much, it comes back down 436 and then tests again. That second test, if it fails, I would be looking at the probably 432 puts, same expiration. That would be November 3rd. So I'm going to write these out. I'll write these out for you guys. Four. So there it is. The bull trade right there is hard push it open, buying on the confirmation as we walk through. If you didn't see it, just rewind this video like a minute or two, and you'll be able to see it. We talked about buying after the breakout. Once we get the confirmation, that's scenario number 1. The bearish scenario is we push it open, we hit this functional resistance. We'll probably come right back down to 435 or so. That is not the move yet. We want to see that second test because the likelihood, in my opinion, of seeing more downside if we get a second test and fail is all but guaranteed. If we hit one test and we come down and we just buy and say who cares, why not? There's a huge possibility that this tests it open and then it takes. Let me look at this for you. You need to be aware of what could happen here, which is, say this tests it open, right? And it comes back down, and then you're saying, okay, I'm going to buy the puts. He said if it gets rejected, that second test breaks through, and then that's the breakout. Then we're right back into bull scenario. This is my point here, guys. It's not about this is exactly what's going to happen. It's if this happens, here's how we trade it, right? So any breakout and then confirmation above this, we're trading to that 440. Any rejection, reasonable rejection, that we can trust, meaning we get the confirmation. Because think about it, to the bear side, we get one test, fail. That second test, that's our confirmation. If it fails the second time, that's our confirmation that we're in for some bear fun, right? And then we're going to trade those 432, 433 puts. I outlined them right there. We have to have that confirmation. Without it, we have nothing, and there's no point in taking any trades at all, and you're just wasting your money, which you shouldn't do. Always trade the confirmation. It's the smartest way you can do this, manage risk, and make money all the time. So that's our SPY. Next up, NVIDIA. Oh, I had something in there, something extra. So again, we mapped this one out very clearly and succinctly on the last stream. As you guys know, we mapped out each of these individual ranges and how far they moved in those ranges. And then we turned on Stocks Buddy to confirm that analysis, which was correct. That as we get down to the bottom, we see a greater expression. So basically, NVIDIA's breakpoint below 431, we have a lot more opportunity to downside than we do at any of these ranges. Just so much as above 460, we have a lot more opportunity for upside than we do in these bottom ranges. And it looks like NVIDIA did close strong above there with buyers stepping in after being incredibly oversold. Again, we must see that confirmation at open on this one. If you do, you have an easy options trade for 4% upside on NVIDIA. No brainer, no brainer, no brainer. So my goal in this stream is to map out the big ones that you guys like trading so that you guys couldn't possibly lose. And if you follow this strategy, you can't possibly lose. You know, okay, below 481, it tends to go back to 460. Okay, puts, boom, you win. And then we know below 460, it tends to go back to 445. Boom, you win again once. And then it pushes up, rejection, you win again, big time. Same thing here, same thing here. And then flip it over once we start going back into the uptrend. The upside here, 4.5%. then another 4%, then 3%, and then our upside right now is about 4.38%. So it's very important that you understand how simple this is. You just grasp how simple this is, so you can use it in all of your trades. I mean, look at how it moves through this zone. You could have taken one trade, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trades by understanding and mapping out one range on one stock. Think about that. You can intimately get to know one stock, and you could have manufactured 6 trades from the August 21st to September 6th. Big trades. I'm talking 30 to 50% gain. You could have taken 6 of those trades as 300% gain in less than 2 weeks, just by understanding how to map out one horizontal range. So my whole goal with the stream from day one is to show you how simple this really can be. So if you want more in-depth on how I identify the ranges, that's a different story, and we can go into that at some point. The lifers, we did do that in there with my options price targets masterclass. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you watch it. You got it for free. So that's NVIDIA. We did see buyers come in. We really need to see that test tomorrow at open. We want to see strong support right here. We want to get that support test. And then I would say this trade's ready to rip. 480s incoming. If it comes back down and then tests and comes down, it's a different story. There's really the two options, bull and bear, right? We're at a pivot point, so we want to see upside or downside, one or the other. Doesn't matter either way because we're prepared to make money on both. That's the beauty of this strategy. You can make money both ways. And if you don't use the Stocks Buddy deal, it's basically what this is doing. It's telling you that, but it's doing it for you and showing it visually on the chart, so it makes it a little easier than having to do it yourself. But nevertheless, I think our options are pretty straightforward and simple here. We know what to do. Bada bing, bada bing. I was on this Twitter Spaces today, and there's one I wanted to talk about. Let me find the ticker. This one guy came on there. He's a really smart, knowledgeable guy. Brought up something very interesting. It's KWEB. That's it. So supposedly there's some talk right now that there's going to be some Chinese stimulus money going out in China. There's going to be some sort of infrastructure stimulus money coming out here. I find that very interesting. And should that be true, again, this is speculative, but should that be true, then I think we have a really interesting opportunity here with this one in particular. This is the Chinese Internet ETF. So again, safe, broad exposure. You're not buying individual stocks. You're trading into an ETF that's like actively managed and balanced, but an ETF that will greatly benefit from infrastructure dollars, stimulus dollars going into the Chinese market. So think back to COVID. That was stimulus money, right? What happened when the stimulus money came out? Tech companies went boom. So this allows you to get that broad exposure here. It hasn't happened and solidified yet. So like take this with a grain of salt. It was just something I heard from a very interesting guy that does a lot of macro market analysis. I think he's a very smart guy. And I trust what he's saying. So there's no confirmation that the money's come in, but there is talk about it. So if you're real into, following political Twitter and all that, I would definitely stay on top of this. And please let me know if you do discover something. But I think this one is a very, very good opportunity for us to make some money on a nice position trade with an ETF. As you can see here, we saw some buying the other day, pretty strong. We've seen pretty consistent buying all through the last couple of months, throughout the year, actually. There is more downside here if this doesn't turn around, though. That's the thing to keep in mind. This isn't one that I would say just go and buy it. Why not? Because we are trading in the bottom half of this range. So 33 is that make or break point. Above 33, we got a lot of upside. Below 33, we got pretty much no limit to the downside. We have no idea how low it's going to go. So very important here that you understand that going into this. This is not just like it'll be a no-brainer buy, hold, don't worry about it. This is one saying, hey, put this on the top of your list, do some research into the political elements involved, and it's a good idea to consider. I kicked it to my advisor actually today and told him to take a look at it a little deeper because he's got access to more resources than I do. But should that infrastructure money come through, I think this is one of the best candidates to take a look at, courtesy of my Twitter friend, I think his name's Kevin Green, maybe. But definitely worth taking a look at. I think it's consolidated nicely. I mean, you have a lot of buying coming in here. If you look at this on the daily or on the weekly, huge buying off the lows here, and then big buying off the lows here, and then right here we've bought on the push up. So it looks like accumulation there. People are basically building a support base. Anytime you see tons of volume flow in at a specific kind of consolidation level, you're typically building a nice support base, which means that buyers come in and really like this here. So they're probably going to continue supporting the buys there, which means sellers aren't going to be able to push it as low, which means this could be an incredible opportunity to literally buy the bottom again. Should the infrastructure dollars come in, this is a really interesting opportunity to take a look at. So that's that. Does that kind of stuff interest you guys? Just a yes or no in the chat will suffice, just so I know going forward. I know we always do just individual stocks, but I figured a macro market trade on some politics might fit right in. So definitely looking for feedback here. Feel free to give me a yes or no if that kind of stuff interests you and it's stuff you want me to keep diving into. Okay, cool. Thank you. So, all right, I got through those faster than I thought I would. So let's do a quick. So get those smash or pass names ready to go. You can start dumping them in the chat now. I got one or two I wanted to look through first, and then we'll talk through our big long-term trade I was talking about in the Discord earlier, and then we're going to go into our smash or pass, have a little fun. So I'm just trying to pull these up right here. Get that screener up. Because there's two that titillated me earlier. I think it was Schwab, because I know Jay was talking about Schwab. But I'm also going to talk through Alibaba, because that's one I'm still long on that I think is interesting. Wow, that KWEB actually showed up in my bullish engulfing screener. Interesting. Very interesting. Ooh, Clean Spark had some volume today. Very interesting. There's a few names that popped through here while the screener performed like a champ yesterday and the day before. Damn, it called MNTS 75%. I missed that one. That sucks. All right. Some continuation plays. Let's stick with these. Wow, Apellis Pharmaceuticals still moving too. There's a few that we can look at here. All right. All right. Miss Anita, hello, the penguin. All right, so you guys can feel free to start dumping those tickers in the chat, so we can go through for smash or pass. I'm going to go through two right here. No, we're just going to go right into that trade because I don't know how long I'm going to end up talking about it, and I think it's really interesting. So, of course, it's AMD. So here's the thing. NVIDIA has become the champion, right? The leader. It's not the same as what we've seen in the past with like one name leading the pack and the rest seeing that kind of sympathy play, right? NVIDIA has positioned itself as the daddy, the expert. As a result, we're not seeing the same sympathy runs, in my opinion, that we could be seeing with some of these other names like AMD, because everyone's afraid that they're going to just get crushed by NVIDIA. So AMD is about to unveil what they consider to be one of their top gun competitors to what NVIDIA is producing. So in light of that, I think that it's worth a look on the potential that we could see some upside here. And most importantly, they have earnings coming up, and their earnings are projected over the next 4 quarters to be phenomenal. So think back to NVIDIA when we look at the trade that we took there, which was like a 1900%. We made like a stupid amount of money. I think in total I made over 100 grand on the one trade, right? So again, we nailed that trade for like the first 800%. I didn't anticipate the earnings being as crazy as they were, but we were well positioned to take advantage of, and this is kind of the whole mantra of trading and why you need to keep this in mind. Because we were positioned well, we were able to take advantage of that massive uptick after NVIDIA's earnings. We were going to see those gains no matter what, but we were positioned well enough in terms of risk profile, given that we were up 800% already, to take maximum advantage as that ran another 1,000% from where it was when we bought it, right? So I think for AMD, what we're talking about here is just an extremely well-positioned trade over the next couple of earnings over quarter, so that as this thing continues to run up, which in all fairness, or sorry, in all seriousness, it should, as we stay above that 106 line, you can see I have outlined there. As we see that run up, we have the potential for an explosive opportunity should this new competition to NVIDIA be, groundbreaking enough or viable enough that the market says, you know what, AMD deserves a little more market share than it's getting. Boom, NVIDIA sells off, AMD gets bought up. We are going to take that position so that we are well positioned for this. Now, I am going to post this trade. Will be posted in the Discord, so I'm not going to go through the specific strikes on this stream. It's is what it is. You join the club, you got it. I'm going to give you the analysis so you can make your own trade from there, or you could just join premium and get the full trade ready to go. If you'd like to do that, you just simply go to here. Boom and done. Just go there. It's yours. Sign up. pbalerts.com, and you'll have access to all these things I'm talking about, which is like the detailed alerts, like I'm buying it here. Here's my strike price. Here's my expiration. Here's where I'm going to start selling. Here are my targets. Here's why, yada, yada, yada. So let's walk through the analysis piece. So we've got one key range here on AMD, right? That key range is $100 and $75. Let's just make it simple, round them off, right? And AMD has traded in this range and bounced around until it breaks below or it breaks above, right? So we just had a run to almost $165 back in November of 21. This thing boomed. And then we tried running again to about 130 back in May of this year. So what's going to happen now? Well, on the weekly, we're bumping our heads. But if we zoom out a little bit and we look at this monthly chart, I would say that we're setting up for a nice run here as soon as we can eclipse this resistance here. So take a look. RSI gives us momentum, right? Doesn't tell us buy, sell, none of that. It tells us the momentum and strength of what's happening in the market, whether it's buyers winning or sellers winning. So right now, that RSI is bouncing around and holding up just above 52, which means that the buyers aren't letting it get into oversold territory because they're still interested in purchasing here. So what we want to see is the price to reflect that demand, and for us to push up is to push up above this resistance and then consolidate a little bit so that we can take a long-term position for the next 4 earnings. I'm looking at 2025 on the expiration. I will tell you that. This is going to be a long-term trade, just like that NVIDIA one. The reason we bought so far out is because I wanted to capture as much of the run-up as possible. And as a result, we were up like 1,900% at the high, which means my position, which was like, I don't know, I had like $2,000 in the position, turned into like 100-something grand. It's crazy. So this trade, I think, will offer us that same exponential upside that we saw in NVIDIA. I think that this is the trade, especially if we can get some great earnings and, more importantly, some really interesting product releases. So the Stickman said AMD better or new Vega GPU cards. Yeah, so that's the thing is staying on top of that news is going to be critical here, but let's just imagine that we're in a good position, right? So what do you see first and foremost? Huge bullish engulfing here. This is great. I love seeing the candles stay within the body of that bullish engulfing as we trend down. That tells me that price is starting to squeeze and consolidate, which is always a good sign. We want that, right? And then we look at trend support here. Let's just map that out, keep it simple. Trend support's looking like we're holding up just right on time. Okay, perfectly. Right across where the buyers came in and asserted their demand, right? So we're holding up. We're staying, these candle bodies are staying within the body of this huge bullish engulfing candle here, right? That's great news. We're on the monthly chart so that we can trust that that is what's happening here. Now we're hitting that point of confluence, right? Where these little areas meet, where the price intersects with these critical areas where it's either going to explode to the upside or the downside. So I think the explosion of the downside's coming. Again, keep your eyes peeled. I'm going to be posting this trade in Discord. I'll be posting it right as we finish up here. And then we will, like, full expiration, price targets, everything. That'll be a premium only deal because I think this is going to be a huge trade. And obviously you guys are paying for the access, so you better get the good stuff. So that's the trade I love. That's why I love it. I think it's extremely well positioned. I think this one could be an absolute banger. A few things have to pan out, but there are as few variables as possible. We try to factor into every trade that give us long-term opportunity to just buy one and hold for quite a while and see a pretty significant return that's going to destroy, like, just buying the S&P, for example. So that's that. That was AMD. Like I said, save this video so you understand the price action and the why. You can refer back to it then at any point in time. You can just save the link, bookmark it, whatever. It's time for a little bit of smash or pass now. If you want to drop those tickers in the chat, I'll give you guys just a second to get those in there. And basically, I'll go through the chart for you, 30 seconds or less. We'll talk about whether or not it's an opportunity to go long or whether we need to keep it moving. I like to keep it simple and just look at the long position for those that are just buying a stock and holding on to it. So that way it's not confusing, buy short, long short, blah, blah, blah. Drop those in the chat right now. All I ask is that you drop one ticker at a time. Feel free to drop as many as you want. If you drop one at a time, I can pull them up right here so that everybody knows what chart we're talking about. I'm going to give you guys just 2 seconds. Knock those out, get them in the chat, and we're going to start moving here, charting the plays that you want to see. Ooh, I think I found one that I'm gonna volunteer. We're gonna do this one first because I think this one might be a golden opportunity for you. Semler Scientific, SMLR is the ticker. Look at this setup. Look at that RSI right there. Boom bounce. Tuning up at about 60. Again, this is on the weekly view here, right? So we have a past range right at about $30. Above 30, it goes to 51. It's done that 1, 2, 3 times now. And then if it breaks that 51, there's huge upside here and available. Now that's the COVID run, so be mindful. But what I like is that we have some pre-COVID ranges right here. So it's above 28.66, look to be our bottom there. If that holds here, this thing's got some upside. So big time selling there. That's the only thing to be concerned about. I don't know anything about the company, but I do think this one could be very interesting. The monthly looks delightful here, just crossed over. So, in stocks, buddy says yes. So who am I to argue, right? So if we take, let's say, and I move this off, that doesn't make it so easy. Yeah, it's about right where I'd put that break, that stop loss too. So we risk 6 to fill this gap. Oh, come on now. Tons of selling, though. That's my only concern. So RSI is turned over. Price action looks to be holding up relatively stable. The only issue really here is that selling. People have just been offloading this like it's nobody's business. Let me look. While their PE for a biotech is only 13. That's phenomenal. So they have 1 downgrade, price target to 45, which still signals quite a bit of upside from here. Insiders own 22%, institutionally owned 67%. Institutions have loaded up 40% uptick. Oh yeah, we're gonna get a taste of this. We're gonna get a taste of this right now. Damn, down to 28 today. That was an incredible buying opportunity. Didn't see this earlier. That is unfortunate. But this one's going to be very interesting. I think this is actually a huge opportunity, guys. I'd pull this one up and take a look for yourself. I'm going to have to get in that bot and start throwing some trades in here, man, because this is looking good. Good. Let's see. Very interesting. This thing on the 15 minutes. Look at the hourly here. Yeah. The only thing is we haven't broken out past that high. Okay, I'm going to take a deeper look at this. I'll be posting the specific trade details if it looks good in the Discord. But for those of you that aren't, take a look at this SMLR. I think this chart is interesting for a long-term growth swing that could be very, very beneficial for your portfolio and your family. All right, DHT, the stick man, sayseth, and we shall look. Let me refind trading view. 1 second. The window is gone. Okay, there it is. DHT, not to be confused with DMT. All right. Oh, okay, Stickman, you found something here. I don't even know what this company is. DHT Holdings, but I'd say you could. This one was a smash. It's trading above there, so it's like downside's 8. It might have tapped on the upside. So unless there's like significant catalysts, I don't know enough. Let me look up what this company does before I tell you. DHT Holdings. Oil and gas, midstream. Oh man, I was just on a big Twitter Spaces about oil and gas here, and they were not very. They were saying sell the top on oil and gas. So I'm going to tell you on the chart. I would say that since it did push new high, you can invalidate that head and shoulders right there. That's a good sign. So from a technical perspective, I would say this is definitely an opportunity to long above 1060. But fundamentally, just after being on that space for the talking about oil and commodities, those guys know a lot more about the kind of general economics and macro stuff than I do, and they were basically saying that oil's a take profit right now, and that a lot of managed money institutions are taking profit on long oil, and now's the opportunity to do that. So I'm gonna unfortunately. Oh, I just said DHL. I meant to say DHT. DHL is that shipping company. So I'm sorry, my brother. The technical setup's there, but they sold me on the bye long oil. So you're talking about the god damn it. So it's the wrong chart. The DHL. Yeah. Wait, no. Are you talking about DHT or DHL? Dude, I don't even see it on the American markets, though. I don't even see DHL Group. It's on OTC. Oh, it's on the OTC. All right, I'm gonna let you figure that one out because I don't know what I honestly don't even know what you're talking about here. I don't know where it is, which one I'm looking at. You got me feeling crazy, man. Gaslighting me. I don't know what's going on. Did somebody Richard Hards? Did you mean to put S? Is that even a ticker? Sentinel one. Oh, that is cool. All right, let's take a look here. Ooh, some big boy buying coming in there. So long road from the top. This looks like a recent IPO. I don't even know what they do or what it is, but they IPO December. Huge run up to 77. And then they absolutely cratered. But this one is a nice little bottom scooper here. I'm going to definitely give you credit on this one because that was a nice bottom scoop opportunity. I'd say above 16 bucks. I've never seen that ticker before, so very interesting. Boom. Tell you right now, that one's definitely getting it. Super smash, man. As long as it stays above that 17, that one's a no-brainer. That's got some upside. That's a good trade. That was a good find. I would say 29 is as far as you go with that one. Let's call that your third base, and then you need to get out of there. ENPH, also energy, will do it. But like I said, I kind of hold what I said earlier, oil, gas, energy. Unless it's like broad scale ETF, I think there's still some opportunity there. And I don't know if we'll ever really come down to the lows we saw COVID. But I will say that a lot of the energy charts are setting up. I'm just spooked hearing about all that rotation out. It blows my mind. I would say that is bottom, though, as bottom as you can get. What does the buddy say? Let's go to the monthly. Oh, the stocks base. So that's not bottom. It says it's ooh. Which I would agree. I don't like buying those bottom setups either, but it's saying that until we break above 130, there ain't no upside coming, just more downside. And I would venture to say it is correct. Anytime you're trading, like get it out of here, right? Anytime you're trading down here where everything wicked down before, you already are told, hey, the same strength you saw here is no longer there, right? Because look, sellers push down, wicked right back up. Sellers push down, wicked right back up. Sellers pushed down, wicked right back up, meaning buyers just came right in and said, nope. But if you look right here, sellers pushed it down and buyers said, you know what? I'll pass. I'm good. They bought a little bit, but it wasn't overwhelming like it was here before that push up. So, unfortunately, NPH is getting the pass, my friend. It just gotta. Wick. Buyers have strength. Sellers have strength. So until the sellers no longer have strength, I would say that I'm out on that. I pass, and I pass hard. Mary Krista Meadows, PayPal. Oof. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm sorry, just 2 seconds of that chart. It still looks abysmal. Fundamentally, I love their business, but the market does not love them right now. The market looks like it's trying to take them back below 40 bucks. So that's a hard pass for me. As I said before in that stream, when I alerted this and we trade that run up, if we're not trading above 70 bucks, this thing has a lot of downside incoming. Very, very difficult to hold here if we don't get it. So I'm gonna go next to Nike. Nike. Not a terrible setup. Let's see what kind of trend strength we're working with here. Some of that long-term trend juice. Okay. I like it. I'll take it. So on a long-term buy, I would say Nike's still holding up on that monthly. Stocks Buddy, ooh, Stocks Buddy disagrees right now. So let's see the last move. 95, 127. That was the biggest. But let's click to the hourly. Ooh, big sellers there. Ooh, tons of sellers here and here. Wonder why you're seeing so much selling on this one. Like, look at that. That's big selling. Big selling. Someone was saying, no, thanks. I'm good. You did have some pretty big buying. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. But overall, I would say that sellers have definitely taken this one on. So weekly's turned over, so that's a good start. And I would say it's holding trend strength. So I would give that a pretty good rapport right there. Look at that. So buyers, if you see buyers come in every time you hit support, like we just talked about in the other one, right? It would wick down, then flip right back up. Anytime you see strong buying and basically demand swell, like right here, right? This is COVID. Demand just swelled back in and ripped this, gobbled it back up. Tested it here. Demand came back in, gobbled it up. Looks like exactly what we're seeing right here. So the main thing with this is that I would watch like right here where it gapped. You want to see it continue above there, but that's also descending support, which isn't always the best sign. Versus if you look where the sellers really lost their momentum, I would say find the big days. That's what I like to do, is find those big days where sellers lost their momentum, because that's going to give you a better indication of where they have those orders triggered. So you're basically you're trading into a consolidated wedge. Now this demand is great, and I would say that right now this is a moderate risk trade. If you took like 10% risk, I think you'd be in a good position here to take this long and see what happens. Maybe you go to 130, 140. So I'm going to say like it's gonna get smashed, just because look at that. You can't argue with long-term trend support. You just can't. And then when you get that kind of demand coming in, I think right now brand is everything. You look at Lululemon, got added to the S&P. Why? Because they have incredible brand strength, which leads to pretty incredible sales numbers, which has given them the opportunity to massively grow a company that's basically just reselling, cheap Chinese consumer goods. It's not anything special. It's not. It feels nice, but it's not like high quality material in a sense that like you go get a cashmere sweater and that's high quality material. It's really not. They're just plastics that they've been able to manipulate to make feel soft and durable. So the brand is what carries the value, not the products themselves. I would argue the products are decent, and that's what gives them the opportunity to grow the brand. But people have really supported the brand over all else. So if Nike's got the brand, then hey, why not? Let's get in a smash. Palantir, Palantir, Palantir. That's Roku. I got to do Palantir first. So Palantir, very interesting. I'm just going to tell you right off the bat. I don't even have to look to know. Boom, smash. Been saying it since $7. Remember, we were trading this right here, waiting for this breakout right here. We bought it. Boom, we're up, I don't know, 100 something percent. But on the monthly, if we go to this, we're looking delightful here. Short of that sell side there, our size tuned up, everything. What does Stocks Buddy think? Yep, Stocks Buddy agrees, man. That's what I'm saying. Below four, I would have said below, honestly, 1507, but we can't be as good as me. Neither Stocks Buddy. But I think right here is a really interesting and incredible opportunity for this to really push and retest this range. If you look, $21, that was our target. I've outlined this one. I don't know if we can find that stream, but I just walked you through exactly what I thought was going to happen, and it's exactly as it did happen. Back when we were trading at around $7, we alerted this and made a killing. Those Palantir options are up like 300-400%. So that's been a great trade overall. It's been phenomenal. So yeah, that's that. So that one's getting a super smash. Just tons of smashing going on. Super tender time. We'll go Roku. Also covered the hell out of this one. Stocks Buddy's saying right now on the monthly, it's right at support. I would agree because of the curvature. So the difference between PayPal and this is that PayPal doesn't have that delightful bottom there. It's not curling enough for me. It's too the descent is too steep. So there's your trend on Roku. I would say that if it ever was a better time to smash, there won't be. I'll tell you right now, this one, I love that little curly bottom there. You're getting a nice little handle if this cup and handle plays out, but more importantly, you're picking up right off strong demand in the past. Look right here, it picked up right from the same level, about 65, and it boomed. Right here was about 80, boomed. So sellers came down to 60 and still ripped right back up. That was COVID, right? But look at pre-COVID. This is important. Buyers picked up from this same 43. No, this one. Look at right here, and then look at right here. What do you see? You want to find confluence, right? Points in time in which these price levels interact and tell you a story. Buyers came in hard off of 43 bucks. What did they do again? Came in hard off $42, right? Then you go back here. Came in hard off that's 30, right? But even nevertheless, right here, 40, 45. Boom to 73. So buyers have stepped in at all those critical areas before. And if we look here, this demand washed out the sell side from 100 all the way back up to 168. So what we want to see is, again, right here, same thing. It picked up 64, pushed to 94. We want to see this push here. And if we do, we should see a push up to possibly 150. I think it could be an incredible run. I'm still long. I have equity in this. I've since sold the options, but I do have some stock in this in my one long-term portfolio. So I think that this is probably one of the best times with a tight stop, right? Like you go below 55, you're really pushing it. I would make sure you have a tight stop on this one. Don't be crazy. Take your money and run. Snap. Last one. Snap, snap, snap. Ooh. You know how I feel about this snap consolidation range. It is delightful. She Rides Bulls. That is the best name I've seen. Are you in the Discord, my friend? Because you and me just became best friends. And if you are, leave comments. I know what your name in Discord is, but that's hilarious. She Rides Bulls. I love that. That's phenomenal. But yeah, if you're not in the Discord, just drop your Discord username. I'd love to know who you guys are in there too. And I hope it helps. So yeah, buyers are picking up here. We got a confirmation on the RSI. The momentum is held up. We are getting a little price confirmation here. It looks like it's really trying to hold that 880 or so. I mean, Snap's got an interesting business, and I think some of the augmented reality stuff that they do is really interesting. And I've never really understood how to really like make sense of it and to explain that. I mean, I don't know how to make sense of it in the sense that how does it translate into like, can they translate it into growth of the company? It really is it. And can they really leverage the fact that they have a lot of young users using their technology to build like long-term opportunity for brand growth? I mean, that's it and that's all. So I really think that that one is going to be really interesting to watch here in the coming weeks, because this sell side was really strong. I think that if we could see the same kind of demand we saw back in 2019, right, when this boomed, if we can see that same kind of demand swell above $9, I think that this one's got a lot of opportunity to 16. So I gotta give it the smash just because I don't know. I love this business. I love this chart. I think that what they're doing is incredibly interesting, and I think that there's a lot of opportunity here. I really, really, really think that this is the hit. I think that they're on to something, and I don't think they're going to zero. So, but look at that, boom! I still can't believe it was trading up to $80. But if there's ever a buy opportunity and this thing's going to go, this is it. I mean, you could take a big position. I mean, right here and say, look, below $6. I'm out. You could risk $3 a share. You risk 30%, right? You put 10 grand in, you risk 3 grand, but here's the upside. You'd 5x your money at the least. Maybe more so like 6x your money just about. So you make 60, you risk 3. Wait, yeah. No, you'd make 50, you risk 3. So risk reward is there, especially in the long term, but just something to consider. So I love y'all. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.